Hi everyone, it's Morgan. Today we will go through uncovering final identities on the main Roottrie family tree and then look in the top secret envelope. It took me quite a while to sort this all out, having to revisit the information we have and see the missing pieces, so this episode would condense this search to the key moments instead of going through absolutely everything. Naturally, after tracking down everyone else, we are left with those we know the least about. We have Gwyneth Morden with her picture, but we do not have any hints to her occupation other than making another guess that she could have been a housewife. Then there is November, which we only saw in the one group picture from the 70s, so while in the photo she is a child, by now she would be an adult with a job, assuming nothing unfortunate has happened to her. Then there is an unnamed baby girl, daughter of Ronald Roottee. We know she's born recently, so she's still a baby. And finally, in the miracle line, we have the person we know absolutely nothing about. And any pictures we have are of other people, so we are definitely missing a whole new thread here. In terms of evidence, we have 3 things that still have a value assigned. Interestingly, one of them is the 5 pieces ad. As far as I'm aware, this was supposed to be a clue to the names of the original 5 pieces kids, which I have all locked in, but there's more here. Turns out, I never actually looked up 5 pieces by itself. We already know about the candy at the center of their family's success, but this search leads us to a mention of a book, The Sweet History of Candy, Volume 2. And the book itself lets us print an old ad for this candy. But since this is Volume 2, can we check out Volume 1? Yes, we can, and we get another printout for our 5 pieces ad. While I check them out in evidence, I don't assign much value to them. As I have all the 5 pieces kids locked in, this would have been useful when I was dealing with them, but now it didn't seem important anymore. However, I do have questions. What kind of flavor is egg cream? Anyway, this is finally all there was to find from the recent ad of the candy, so we are done with this one. Stephanie's campaign leaflet still has a value of 5, so there is a lot more hiding here, but where exactly? I end up spending some time researching Butler County and trying to see if there is more about her or the council, but instead, I stumble upon a little meta Easter egg about the Roottrees are dead and the Flutneys are bread. Apparently, the brothers from a family of duck got turned into bread by a witch and then eaten by other ducks, leaving the player to identify all the ducks, their lineage, occupations, and figure out which of them killed the Flutneys. And one of the ducks is also a bank robber called the Safe Quacker. Wow, we have gotten way off track here. Without further idea about what else to take from Stephanie's leaflet, I go back to Lauren's book to see if there's anything more in there. I've had the long highlighted passage about how the kids in generations after her all want to be artists, musicians, and dancers, and we've not yet had any confirmed dancers, so I assigned this occupation to November because I think that might have been the clue here. I did look November up in every source we have, with nothing coming up, so this offhand comment is so far the best lead here. After reviewing some of my footage, I realized I missed a clue to one of the optional entries. In the Teen Plus article, Raina mentions her grandma Laura, which I originally confused with Lauren, her great aunt. But actually this gives us a name for Clancy Jr.'s wife. But this really doesn't bring us any closer to the answers we really need. Time to really lean into things I might have previously discarded as not relevant, because checking on the same things all over again gets us nothing. In her diaries, Lauren mentions her first book, Swashbuckle My Heart, which she just didn't seem important, but at this point, I am desperate. Nothing about it is on the internet, but in the library, there's a mention of it being re-released under a new title, presumably after Lauren's diaries became more popular and well-known under her Roottrie name. While the book in question turns out to be irrelevant, the blurb on it mentions that she has released another book, where she revisits her diaries. So we finally get a bunch of new evidence added to our stash. Because of how far we are into the game, only one of the pages has any value, but each offers additional context to the entries we read in the previous version. We get direct explanation about how Sam was finally included in the family after her father finally marries her mother. While they had Sam many years ago through an affair, Patsy, her mother, was then married off to another man and Sam was sent to be raised by two farmhands at the Roottrees maple farm, EC and his roommate, Mr. Miller. They refer to EC as confirmed bachelor, and with the roommate in the picture, I'm pretty sure this is a euphemism for them being gay. Another piece of information here is that while Sam was not included in the family trust and given any money from the company, instead she inherited the original farm. Her daughter Gwyneth also inherited her green thumb, so I think this might be a pretty good indicator on what she ended up doing in her life. There is another page that talks about Clark, which has now divorced and remarried, and we know this wasn't even the end of it. We also have proper confirmation of Gwyn's marriage and divorce with Wild Bill, but even here he's not mentioned by his real name, which we did have to work out from other clues. Another page is about names in the family and the fact that a lot of them repeat and are close to each other. We already resolved most of what this points to, like the two Elis and all the Edwards and Clancys. But another mention here is how women get their name by mixing of names from previous generations, which might be a clue to sorting out some of the women that got married into the family, but we've seen no mention of, other than on the list of names. She also makes an offhand comment about seeing mail for her father with his names backwards. Right now this seems like nothing, but we will get back to this later. Last page is something Lauren wrote as a child, when she recalls getting angry at another girl for claiming Lauren's father is her father. I assume this probably refers to Sam, and since their fathers are brothers, they could resemble each other and this could cause her confusion. At this point I was not sure how much Sam's biological father had contact with her. She was being raised by the farmhands, but that means she was in close proximity to the family at the time. With the info about names, I decided that November's mother was likely April, as this links the two together with names of the same theme. While this new book confirmed things we already knew and gave us small pieces of new information, it was not everything we needed. I'm back again to this campaign mailer, which is still worth 5 points. Eventually I realized I never looked up Brian Jones, Stephanie's husband, because he just didn't seem important. While searching for him in local press, it turns out he inherited a printing company from his father, and they have been behind printing quite a few advertising campaigns and other promotional material in the area, including some of the things we already have in our evidence. Upon checking out their fancy website, we find a few things we might want to look up, including Roottrees Motors and a theatre performance for Children of Eden. Roottrees Motors immediately sounds like a great clue, as we know Eli was a mechanic and we are still missing all information about his child. While they have no internet presence, their ads have been printed in the local newspaper. Children of Eden turns out to be another Easter egg, but the game directly points us to instead checking out who was performing this musical. Butler Samuel Theatre cast list doesn't have any relevant names, but it turns out the choreography was by November Studios, so she really was a dancer. The studio has no internet presence or mentions in the press, so this will likely have to be enough confirmation. Back to Roottrees Motors, we get a clue that it used to be Wilkins Motors, which again is likely a clue to the identity of Eli's wife, as he probably takes over the shop from her family. But in the most recent ad we learn about Tessa Roottree, who is the newest mechanic there, giving us all of an information in this single piece of evidence, so without it we would never have been able to solve this one. By process of elimination, this also gives us the name of the remaining baby as Christine Roottree. I had the two swapped as I thought the baby might be Tessa as a play on her mother's surname. And there we go, the final confirmation before we get into the contents of the top secret envelope. My genealogy genie. If you are reading this, it means you've locked in 49 blood relatives. Congratulations, I knew you could do it. There are 2 more entries on the family tree I would like you to consider. These last 2 are optional. You can summon me whenever you wish, however this will end your search and reveal the truth, so make sure you're ready. I like how she just stuck this top secret envelope to the family tree and basically counted on us just not opening it before we completed it. So while we don't have to do this, that would be a strange choice since we've been building up to this the whole time. While we know Sam was the daughter of Elias Jr. and Patricia Christensen, until they got married later in their lives, she was being raised by her adoptive parents who worked on the Roottrie farm. And this is who we have to identify here. This time we have to enter the names manually as it would be too easy to use a list. We have definitely seen EC mentioned alongside his roommate, and actually both of Lauren's journal lead to this partner's full name, as he is mentioned as John Miller. As for EC, I get a bit turned around at first. For some reason I remember the steamy correspondence mentioning the child being sent to live with a brother, and I assume it means her brother. And with the last initial C, that matches with the name Christensen, probably on purpose here. I end up researching the family some more, finding mentions of the steel mill they were running, and how even the Vice President of the United States visited it, so I tried to find out more mentions of that, thinking it might lead to the identities of her brothers. But nothing relevant shows up. I eventually end up rereading steamy correspondence again, and realize that Patricia refers to a twisted twin of the person she is writing to, and not just a brother. I also realize I still have the picture of the person hidden in the background of the original 5 pieces photo that I have not used, so clearly this is our missing man right there. And upon closer inspection I realized that he actually resembles other Roottrie family members, and it's all starting to come together in my head. The twisted twin, Lauren mentioning male for her father but with his names reversed, child Sam confusing Lauren's father for her own, the 2 adverts for 5 pieces where not only the flavors change, but one of the initial goes missing from the list. What happened to egg cream? Edward Clancy Roottrie. EC wasn't related to Patricia at all. EC was a twin brother to Clancy Edward, who got cast out of the family for being gay. As soon as this was confirmed, the mysterious woman returns, this time not in the shadows, and reveals her identity. She is Sam Roottrie, and she wants the truth about their adoptive father to be known. She also runs us through all of the clues we were supposed to use to work out this information. Some of those I have not quite connected, like the fact that Ernie needed help with his medical bills because Sam's line was excluded from the trust and therefore they were not rich like the other Roottries. Now she wants to fix this for her daughters and granddaughters. And we will be getting her share of the trust as payment, so I guess this all paid off and we are set for life now. Thanks to your hard work, Sam Madsen's book was finally published. It received mixed reviews. Life went on, and a new president took over the company. The Roottrie family faded from the news cycle. And then, everything changed. There's another mystery to solve. Now that we have finished the main game, we have access to the Roottrie Mania expansion. I will make a video about that at some point, but after having a look, it's quite an extensive investigation, so I'll have to get back to you on that one once I got some results. Thanks for joining me in this playthrough of The Roottrees Are Dead. Let me know what you thought of this family drama, and I will see you soon on another adventure. Booyah!